Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another initiation of a tuning series. We've done a TRX4 Sport tuning series. We've done a tuning series on the base camp. We did a little bit of a tuning series on a high trail where I leaned into the spirit of the high trail, which basically translated to not a whole lot of tuning need be done. It's not specifically a rock crawler, so the requirements and the necessary modifications are lesser than others. This is the impulse buy. There is no Dana. There's only Zuul. The impulse bought Zuul, which, because at the time, for whatever reason, Amin was selling them for $249. I would not really strongly recommend buying a Zuul at any other price point than $249 because you have to discard a lot of things. And what we are going to what we are going to attempt to do here is tune a Zuul to the point where it can, by nature of the trailing arm, which I do not think is particularly conducive to dedicated rock crawling. It's kind of in the name. I know that, yes, it's a trailing arm. The arm trails mine. But they are really, there's a sway bar on it. It's definitely more conducive to mixed use than it is pure rock crawling. So the goal is to kind of lean into that. As such, it is fitted with a Genzace 3600 battery, which basically fills that little element tray. And between the quick view and now, it has had the bare minimum of basic modifications done to it. Somewhere on the internet, hopefully it is edited and uploaded before this one is edited and uploaded. Time is both wibbly and wobbly about doing a caster flip. The caster flip has been performed on the front of this, which is how you get that road grader steer angle, where at full lock you can stick the tire into your lower suspension link like that. And in order to get the maximum benefit of the caster flip, we have converted it to servo on axle. And the only requirements to convert it to servo on axle are an additional front upper link and a servo and axle bracket. And this is the servo and axle bracket from an Enduro SE. And this is an identical element link to the one that's on the other side. If you have those two parts, well, I mean, you'll need a drag link. You'll need a couple little extra things. But you basically need that link. The kit comes with extra rod ends. I don't know why it would not cost that much for companies like this if they put in two more links in the package and that little bracket, which probably costs 10 cents in plastic, to give you the opportunity to swap it over should you so desire. This would really be bonuses that I wish we were still seeing in boxes when they sold us things. But we don't. So also included in the box is the 12% underdrive. So that has been installed in the gearbox. It is not necessary, but the spur gear has been changed simply because I love Kimbrough spur gears, and I like when things are very, very quiet. This right here is why the Stealth X is one of my favorite, if not my favorite gearbox. I also had to go up in pinion because I fitted it with a 1200 kV. I think, honestly, for the mixed use approach that we're going to use on this, I should have gone with an 1800, but I had already wired up and mounted the 1200, so I just went up in pinion to a 23 tooth from the stock 18, and relevant and important for you to know, a 23 tooth pinion is the largest pinion that you can fit with the stock spur gear. It just, like, basically, if you push the motor all the way over in the mount and put that gear on, it has just the right amount of play in the mesh. I have not changed the springs. We've not made any tweaks to geometry other than you can see a little bit of, see the reduction right there? They don't have, and I would like to see actually a little bit more. They have in the stock configuration, the rear pumpkin is basically flat. So the pinion hangs and the drive shaft hangs well below the trailing arm. So you're just, I mean, this is like one run, and it's already all scarred up. So it's fixable for free. You take one screw out, you turn the turnbuckle out, I mean the link out a little bit, and you put it back together. I would like to go a little farther, and I will probably end up eventually replacing those with a link that's slightly longer, because I would like to rock it even more, turn it back even a little bit more, because I don't want that thing to drag. As I said, setting it up for mixed use, so we're going to go with the 3600, and going with the 3600 allowed me to be a little bit lazy, because then I don't have to change the springing. It's gray front, blue rear. We can get away with the blue rear because of the force multiplication of the trailing arm. It's not attached directly to the axle. This is the only... Is it? Does the GOM have trailing arms? The GOM has trailing arms. This is the second trailing arm fitted vehicle in the fleet. Anything else that has come fitted with trailing arms in the past, the trailing arms have been replaced almost immediately, because there's something about what it does to the rear compliance. Like when you and this is theorization, because I am not a scientist nor an engineer. When it lifts like this, okay, I know that I can't translate transmission of force through a visual medium, but if I lift this tire up like this, give me something. How about this bottle of paint? So when we get that up there like that, cross weight is transferring across to this tire. So this tire is now planted into the ground. But because I don't know if it's the trailing arm, I don't know if it's the sway bar, I don't know if it's the collaboration of the two. Now this tire is like if we put it way out at the end, how much ruler will it bend? It requires almost no force. So what I'm getting to is when you get into any kind of side hilling position, you've got that cross weight transfer. What will happen is if your side hill trends away from just a straight side hill like that, and now you're side hilling kind of like this cross weight will throw what feels like in operation the entire weight of the vehicle onto this tire, and then pew, that tire pulls this tire over, and away you go. You just roly-poly away. So this is going to be a bit of a learning experience for me, because instead of attempting to tune trailing arms in any way, I just remove them in every way. I four-link the rear end, and it just completely changes the behavior of the vehicle. So we have to look at it a little bit differently. Did I complete my thought that we converted it to servo on axle? Yes, because you can't get this throw to right here. Imagine it. It's invisible, but it's right here where my finger is. Right there would be the panhard mount, axle side of the panhard mount. No matter how small of a hollow ball you put on there, no matter what you do, the drag link from the chassis mounted steering, which won't be this far out, it'll be back a little more, they hit each other. So you can get about that much steering to this side, but you can get this much steering to the other side. So it's honestly easier. If we're going to deal with trailing arm and we're going to deal with the tuning of that, I'm just going to throw a servo and axle bracket on it. Now, if you wanted to convert it a little bit more, like if you've got the imaginary speedometer, you've got the imaginary shaped like a protractor, it's got an arrow on it, right? You've got trail this way, which means this is fun to drive. I drive it through the crick. We're kind of part of the way there. We don't have the receiver in a box. That is something that should be remedied. Then you have rock crawling all the way over here. And on rock crawling, you're like, we're going to throw a bunch of underdrive and overdrive at it. We're going to put huge anti-squat values. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to maximize breakover, which trailing arms do not do. We're going to do everything we can to enhance the capability of the vehicle when crawling rocks. So I kind of want this arrow up and down in the middle. If you wanted to point the arrow a little bit more towards rock crawling, you make yourself a little bracket like this one. You slap that on top of the servo, you remove all this apparatus, and you run your battery on top of the servo. This unsprings the servo, so now it is no longer part of the chassis weight, unlike this big tank. It's going to improve a lot of things for rock crawling, but you can only run a battery up to about a 2200, So unless you like to fill your pockets with batteries on the trail, it's not going to improve it that way. I would recommend if you're going to mixed use, if you're going to rock crawl only, that was what was still in my brain, dominating my thought patterns, a 1200. If you're going to do mixed use, 1800. If you're going to trail exclusively, I would also say 1800. You can tweak the gearing because you have a lot of gearing options on a Stealth X. And there's really not much else we've done in the way we had the underdrive. We went to servo and axle. I clocked that pumpkin a little bit. And the lead that has been buried. These are actual, real deal, genuine RC four-wheel drive wheels. I do not favor this type of wheel with the flat ring on the inside. But for a previous build, I needed this specific wheel. That build is now gone. So I had these wheels freed up, and they are very attractive. So they will fit on element axles even with knuckle weights. I did add SSD knuckle weights. I put knuckle weights on there because our weight bias, we feel very Ferrari-like. The weight, the weight balance is we're maybe 55-45, even with this big clunk of weight up in the front. So I did add knuckle weights to help to keep the front end biting a little bit harder. Servo and axle. Oh, this is what I consider to be perfect implementation. Okay, within our pursuit of the crawler's paradox, it is very common to go for whatever the maximum performance thing is, and we just keep applying maximum performance things. Now, if you have a vehicle that is extraordinarily capable, and then you take a very high scoring tire and you put it on that, the benefit that you actually get from the tire is modest. Because the geo and the layout and all of the things are already raising the ceiling of what that vehicle can do. So if you take a vehicle that is not particularly adept at rock crawling, it doesn't really have a lot of the tools. The skid is not forward, it's running trailing arms, the weight balance is not great, it runs very heavy springs, etc., etc. And then you put, if memory serves, the highest scoring 1.9 tire we've had, the KLR V2 Comp Spec Gold, fitted with Canyon custom soft inserts all the way around. You take a very high scoring tire and you put it on a vehicle that is not as capable as others, and the effect of that tire will be far more pronounced, I think, and hope. So the tuning of the Zuul is going to be a lot of minutia, because based on my prior experiences, I think that where we are right here, for something designed to do both, to both head out onto the trails and drive through the cricks, where like the gear cover will go back on, I've got to figure out something to put that receiver in. And there's not a lot of room under this body. I will keep... Can I fit it back there? Oh, I think I can. All right. We can probably mount a receiver box right to this. Well, I don't know if we can fit a big old clonkin' element receiver box. I've got a Traxxas one right here. Yes. That we shall do, because this is going to add an ounce and a half right back here. Absolutely fine with that. So that will come up later. We will take care of that. So we're going to take it out and we're going to try to mix it a little bit. We're not just going to go strictly rock crawling stuff. Well, of course, I want to see it on a side hill. I want to see it at Slick Rock. I want to see the usual things. And then we'll kind of adapt to the flow from there. There are a lot of advantages to the Element platform. The shocks and the gearbox lead among them. The shocks are fantastic. And despite a microscopic pinion at the front end and the rear end, which tends to grenade front gears over time, I've never blown out a ring gear in the back. I've killed like 5 or 6 front ring gears, not on this one, but on other Element axles. But the gearbox and the shocks, in terms of RTR shocks, some of the very best. These are untouched. This is how they came out of the box. Somebody else built those shocks. I never even bothered to take them apart. And oh yes, you obviously saw the radio. The radio had been replaced, 1200 and a 45 kg. So the 1200 was already here. So let's look at it realistically. We will ignore the tires. I could have put Canyon Trails on it. I could have put whatever on it, but I wanted to try these. They might not be the forever tire. I have no commitment to it. $60 for a radio, $30 for a servo. These are now like $90, but used to be like $70. So we're still, regardless, we've invested about $200, ignoring the wheel and tire because it could very easily be AliExpress, $11 a set wheels. But these are very pretty, and I had them sitting on a rack, and it seemed like a shame. If you were fortunate enough to get a $250 Zuul, you could be sitting in a position comparable to this one, and you're still under $500, which is nice, because we do not need to replace the radio. We don't need to replace that. We don't need to replace that. We didn't compromise on any parts. There's really no need with servo on axle. There's really no need to go to a servo any more capable than that, which are routinely on sale for like $29. That servo will get the job done. Whatever tire you like for mixed use will get the job done. I would not leave this on the tires that it came with. I think I covered that in the quick view. I do not believe that anything about this platform is conducive to Class 1 tires. It is a 12.8-inch wheelbase. So, let us see what we hath wrought as we take Dana, only there is no Dana, there is only Zuul, out to those rocks, and there's a couple spots. There's a couple old-timey spots out in the canyon where, when I got my very first Ecto, back at the release time of the Ecto, there was a little section that I could not clear on trailing arms. And when I converted the vehicle to 4-link in the rear, straight up it. So, I knew less then. I would like to think that I know more now. And, I mean, that body is very bright. It's kind of an aggressive tan, if aggressive tan is a thing. But dang if the Zuul isn't a good-looking body. I'm a sucker for FJs. So, I think that we've made something reasonable. Let us go and find out. I'm kind of most excited to get to use the battery tray, because I most commonly around here, 2200s, some 1500s, some 850s. It's really only in just pure trailing applications that I use anything above a 2200. We got the Genzace 3600s and 4300s, some Z Premium 4200 LAHVs, which are really nice. We're getting to that little spot where I feel like if we just had a little bit more throttle input, this is cruise control. This is self-drive. I feel like, no, maybe not. It just, there we go. Oh, we do have a little bit of tire to insert. They got to get into that collaboration. Okay, the weight of the 36. There was a little leg wave there. The weight of the 3600 doesn't feel excessive. I don't really feel it. There we go. We could probably go, like, my only worry is that the insert is a little over firm. Like, it might not be quite compliant enough. But again, aiming for mixed use, I don't want a lot of over collapse of the tire. Fall back there. There we go. No, you know what? We're on a fact-finding expedition of sorts, so want to go out wide this side right here. Yep, there we go. Oh, perfect. Just lid slide. So that is something that I don't explicitly know how to address. Yeah, 3,600. I would not know. If I didn't know, I wouldn't know. If I didn't know that I'd put a 3,600 in there, I wouldn't have been able to tell. Oh yeah, it's double the size of any battery that you would ordinarily run. Yeah, the KLR really responds to some very low levels of throttle input. So I'm hoping that it will respond equally well to medium to high levels of throttle input, which is kind of, you know, in a trailing situation, in my experience. That was really nice on the descent there. There it is, leg high. In a trailing situation, it's basically like I couldn't do it without cruise control, and it's adjustable. I can vary it. Basically, what I do is we set a number, and then you're just, you know, you're out on open ground, because the recording apparatus will make your arms fall asleep. So I have never trailed without recording it. Yeah, see, this is the compound of the tire is trying to make up for any shortcomings the platform might have. At least in that aspect, I feel like I aimed at the correct target. That suspension honestly feels pretty good. Like I've not tempered, not meted. I feel like I have a set level of expectation that is appropriate, because I feel like that it's on some level unattainable, the perfect trailing vehicle that also crawls rocks. So let's just try to get, and it's simple and up till this point still inexpensive. See, that descends well. If that weight balance is that like 55%, I'm honestly good with it. All right. Betwixt Precious Stones and Ancient Kingdom, you come up this side right here. We get the front end over. And what will tend to happen is once that tire bites over on that side, so we got that high side tire trying to pull us. Are we going to pull? There it is, right there. In my experience, that is a trailing arm situation. So let's see if I can't hook it higher. Can that top side, or what? Or is the weight gonna fall away from that tire? I'm trying to use all sidewall right there. We're getting tangled up in the hay. Okay, so if I get up higher, now we have to make the transfer. Right across here. Okay, so when using the Ecto, it was still chassis mounted steering at the time. It was still trailing arm. What is this? I would have to go back and look at my own video. What is the sum total of change? Like what are we looking at here? What's the big difference that makes that more manageable? I'm pretty sure that the higher scoring tire is certainly not hurting. Is it enough to pull? Ooh, get. Nope. I can see the drive shaft just riding along the surface. Now, did we force it far enough over? Yeah. It's really, it starts coming in at the limit. Is there? Yeah, you just got to remember, you trail it. This is, I don't know. I'm rethinking things. I'm trying to conjure up memories long gone by. The thing is, man, rock crawling really isn't that hard. I mean, it isn't. Well, that's not a 100% accurate statement. Rock crawling is as hard as you want to make it. And most of the choices, we make those choices. Very few of the choices are made for us, except, when we're buying, hey, how's it going? When we're buying RTRs. Then indeed, there are a lot of choices being made for us. This is definitely the feel of, I want to say that I want to say he was on the smaller KLR, closer to a Class 1 size KLR at that time, so long ago that I have very dim recollections. The tire here is doing a real lot of heavy lifting. Because in terms of suspension tuning, I did the very basic, which is remove RTR tire and insert and replace it with good tire and insert. You should have excellent sidewall support. We've used them a lot. Let's see what the weight transfer looks like. It's great. It's great. There is going to be, obviously, there's going to be a limit where when you get real crawlery, it's not going to be as good anymore. I'm most surprised by a lack of negative impact from the 3600, from that big battery. That's a big battery. And so long as that 1200 on a 23 tooth is brisk enough to, I like to have the cruise control set between 50 and 70% for a decent trailing walk behind it pace. If we're up like 85, 90%, I don't like to have a motor winding out. You don't want to drive your car everywhere at red line. So I would have to swap it out. Yeah, that's great. It's great. I am pleased. When I had announced I was going to be running KLR V2 Golds on here, and it will be used primarily for, mixed use, but primarily trailing, somebody said, well, I don't know if I'd run that tire on a trail rig. And my response was, trailing does not wear tires. Rock crawling wears tires. Because when you're in a trailing situation, let's see if we can get it here, or if it's just going to go. No, it's just going to go. We gotta find a different spot to bind. You get a 97 plus scoring tire, and it will go to the places. So we're right through here. Oh, these are great. These are great. Now, when I spoke of budget, budget is ever flexible. You spend what you're comfortable with. Would I want to run out and buy $75 worth of tires for this, which is what that is, without foams? KLR CompSpec Golds are $37 a pair, so $74 in tires. But one cannot argue the return on investment. Like, this vehicle is, there we are. Only had it for a second. So we get right here. That right there, that's what wears tires. Doing that. Yes, they are proving on this insert, this is the first test instance of the KLR V2 Golds on a Canyon custom insert, and they appear to like it. Is this the best
rock crawler that I've ever seen or you will ever see. Well, no. Stability is pretty good. I'm not really feeling the weight bias. No, this is mostly adequate. We will see sooner than later. We will see this thing in a. I want to see here. Yeah, you know, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. I mean, as now, my only real worry is how is this gonna do out on trails for long periods of time? Okay. All right, let's see what we got. As I said, crawling is not that hard. It's as difficult as you want to make it. And what better a test than try to go through some gates. All right, swing that back around. The limit, okay? So the limit comes up and it will sneak up on you and then it's gotcha. All right. Oh, it's all right. It's all right. Oh, it is. there's a. If you come out here in something class 2, and this would just about qualify, when you come out here in something class 2 that is kind of oriented toward this kind of behavior, there's a real difference in feel. That fall away, you know what? We're not even going to, no, we will. We got it. I was going to say we're not even going to try to hang the front corner to see how we transfer through. Ooh, no, no. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you get into some you get into some differences in geo, like real fast. It was suggested previously, so it'll be like a little bit of a from the comments, that people would like to see this, to see Dana, only Zuul, up against Baseline, our day-to-day tire tester. As they are both element platforms, they share a lot in common, even with the caster flip. Yeah, I mean, I have modest expectations on this course, and it's doing all right, really. It's better than bad. But at the same time, I feel like I know what's going to happen right here. When that rear drops free. No! Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Come straight up the middle. We are straight axle all around, so we have to take this just so. Yeah, KLR doing work right there. So it's a thing, you know. Factor it into your financial consideration. Boy, in this light, in that overcast, that's kind of like the Crayola used to have a crayon called Flesh. It's kind of flesh colored. There's a little flesh going on. This tire will take you to the limit of what the suspension can do, for sure. Oh, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down. Maybe we'll get into some experimentation in a future installment. Like, what happens if we disconnect that sway bar? What do those trailing arms do without the sway bar? On a rock. At high speed, we know exactly what it's going to do. There's just not a surplus of savability. Okay, now we got to get this across here, and then we're going to try to hook that way. Is that trailing arm going to keep? Hey, that was all right. That was all right. it felt, there's a feeling that the trailing arm setup on the Element gives you, which is fear. It does not come heavy with the confidence. This little transition here where I try to stick high onto the yellow side, I'm worried. Oh no. Okay, get right there. Take that right there, which will flatten the rear down. Come back this way. Up across. Watch out for that little point right there. Swing back. Drop down. Come across here. We should have plenty of belly clearance right there. Yeah, trailing arm right through. If scoring is correct in my brain case, 2, 6, 13. We had 15. We had a 15. A 15 is not bad. And if anything, the gearing is like 1 tooth slow. So it's got an 87 on it. I just need to find an Element 84, Element Associated 84, and change the pinion down. I think that would probably be like 2284, somewhere around there. 2184. This is certainly above acceptable, and it is sort of, now, there's a little bit of a tonal change. There was a loud clicking. Ooh, I'm hearing a clicking most rhythmic. Oh, it descends great. Do you recall when I said I don't really care for those types of beadlock wheels? One of the screws had come out and was rubbing. It was only hitting on part of the knuckle when it spun around. So that was how we were getting it. That's on me. I'm coming around. So if we have the three platforms, if we have the three main platforms, which would be Traxxas TRX4, Axial Base Camp, Element, Enduro, Sendero, they're all kind of the same thing. So the Zuul goes in there with it. You have the trailing arm and the 4-link versions. So the other companies don't have that. They don't have the trailing arm version. They only have the 4-link rear versions. I am coming around to the trailing arm version. I think that across the board, they are too expensive. But at $249, this is definitely competitive. The amount that you need to invest in it is certainly better than what you need to invest on the base camp. The base camp has a strength. That LCXU gearbox is very good. But I would, at least 8 times out of 10, I would take a Stealth X over an LCXU. The advantage of the LCXU is the dig, and adding dig to it costs $30 plus a servo. You also, big strike on Axial, you can't buy an LCXU a la carte. You can go on Amazon right now and buy a Stealth X. So Stealth X is excellent. The shocks are excellent. Axial shocks, terrible. TRX4 shocks, excellent. But I'll take a Stealth X over a TRX4 box 8 times out of 10. I'm coming around. Like, in terms of that trio, TRX4 is unstoppable at the top, right? But there are no trailing arm TRX4s. I will take this body over a TRX4 sport body pretty much all the time, pretty much 10 times out of 10. But I have one sport body, so I guess it's 9 times out of 10. There's a strong argument to be made for the Zuul, Ecto, Enduro, the Senderos, provided that the price point doesn't get ridiculous. At $399.99, this is a non-starter. At $249, though, what we had to add, even if we count in the tire, I mean, the TRX4 is still ahead. Like, in terms of just straight up value, the TRX4 is still leading. But I'm not mad about it. This looks better. Like, I think I would go as far as to say objectively, the Zuul is better looking than a TRX4 Sport. And it's straight axles. If you're not a Portal guy, you know, it descends great. It really does. And by that, I mean it's very fast. When you're at the top of your obstacle, the Zuul will get you to the bottom of that obstacle very quickly. But every RTR over a time frame, short or long, is going to have all of its electronics replaced, and except in the case of the TRX4, the tires as well. So with the minimum amount of stuff done to an RTR, the Zuul is pretty good. Surprisingly good. We're going to see if we can't tame that trailing arm setup. We're going to see. And it's just going to be tinkering on my part because I don't really know what to do. So come back and see those after I thank you for watching this one. I hope that in between now and when we meet again, you one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the canyon. Who knows? This is one of those rigs. Dana the Zuul. You might see this in all kinds of stuff. You'll see it on rocks. You'll see it on trails. You'll see it all over the place. Whenever you come back and see us, and we sincerely hope that you do.